Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Alivia Renadisti and I'm from PBI class. In this video, I will explain and answer the question given by the lecturer. Okay, the first question is, in order to be able to produce speech, the mind goes through stages. What stages are they? Okay, my answer is, the process of speech production involves several stages. The first is conceptualization. This is the initial stage where the speaker forms the idea or message they want to convey. The second is lexical selection. The speaker selects appropriate words from their mental lexicon to represent the concept. The third is grammatical encoding. The words are arranged into a grammatical structure following the rules of the language. The fourth is phonological encoding. The words are converted into a sequence of sounds ready for articulation. The fifth is articulation. The muscles of the mouth, tongue, and vocal cords produce the sounds necessary for speech. Okay, next to second question. What do humans need in order to be able to function the stage? Explain your answer. Okay, humans need several cognitive and physical resources to perform the stage. The first is mental lexicon, a vast storehouse of words and their meanings, allowing speakers to retrieve and select appropriate words. The second is grammar, knowledge of the rules governing the structure of sentences and phrases in the language. The third is phonological representation, a mental representation of the sounds of the language, enabling speakers to plan and execute the movements required for articulation. The fourth is motor control, the ability to coordinate the muscles involved in speech production, such as the tongue, lips, and vocal cords. The fifth is hearing, the ability to monitor and adjust one's of speech, ensuring that it is produced accurately. Okay, next question is, do you agree with saying that conceptualization needs semantic knowledge? Why? Explain you the reason for your position. Okay, my answer is yes, I agree that conceptualization needs semantic knowledge. Why? Because semantic knowledge is essential for understanding the meaning of words and concepts. When forming an idea, the speaker must draw on their existing semantic knowledge to select and organize the appropriate words and concepts. For example, to conceptualize the idea of a dog, the speaker must have a mental representation of the concept, including its attributes. Example, 4 legs, furry, barks, and its relationship to other concepts. Example, animal, pet. Okay, next question is, what are the functions of semantic knowledge for conceptualization? Explain your answer with examples. Okay, my answer is, semantic knowledge serves several functions in conceptualization. The first is word selection. It helps speakers choose the most appropriate words to represent their intended meaning. For example, to express the concept of fear, a speaker might choose the word terrified rather than afraid, based on the intensity of the emotion. The second is concept organization. It allows speakers to organize their thoughts in a coherent and meaningful message. For example, to explain the concept of climate change, a speaker might use a hierarchical structure starting with general concept, for example, Earth, atmosphere, and moving to more specific ones, for example, greenhouse gas and global warming. The third is contextual understanding. It enables speakers to adapt their language to different contexts. For example, when speaking to a child, a speaker might use simple words and explanation than when speaking to an adult. Okay, next question is, What do you know of semantical microplanning and semantical macroplanning? Explain your answer with example. Okay, my answer is semantic microplanning. This involves the selection and organization of individual words and phrases to express a specific idea or concept. For example, a speaker might plan to use the phrase heavy rain to describe a storm. While semantic macroplanning, this involves the overall organization of speech or of conversation, including the main points to be covered and the order in which they will be presented. For example, a speaker might plan to introduce the topic of climate change, discuss its causes and effects, and propose solutions. Okay, the last question is, if conceptualization takes place in the brain, which is part of the brain runs the functions, explains your answer with theory and examples. Okay, my answer is, while conceptualization is a complex process involving multiple brain regions, several areas are thought to play a crucial role. The first is prefrontal cortex. This region is involved in planning, decision making, and working memory, all of which are essential for conceptualization. The second is temporal lobe. The temporal lobe contains the Wernicke's area, which is important for language comprehension and semantic processing. The third is parietal lobe. The parietal lobe is involved in spatial reasoning and attention, which can influence the way we conceptualize ideas. The fourth is subcortical structures. Structures such as the basal ganglia and hippocampus may also contribute to conceptualization by regulating cognitive. Okay, maybe that's all for me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.